Hey everyone, welcome to IGN Godlike, IGN's #1 Smite podcast. I'm your host Brandon. I'm joined by Mr. Kyle O'Connor.
What's up, guys?
And Mr. Alfredo Diaz.
Hello.
And you might recognize these two handsome gentlemen to my left. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure, my name is Andy Anderson. I'm producing Smite on Xbox at Hi-Rez Studios. So super excited about that.
Yeah.
And I'm Todd Harris. I'm one of the co-founders of Hi-Rez Studios and Chief Operating Officer, and it's awesome to be here with you guys.
Thank you very
Really
much for
excited
coming.
to have you.
We're excited to have you. So I have a tiny mic, so I'm going to try to do this without breaking eye contact. But, so right off the bat, last week was our first episode. This is episode 2. And we made a small error last week.
Tiny.
In which we forgot to actually explain what the hell Smite is.
Smite podcast. We love Smite.
It's
So-
great. Don't
so-
know what it is, but it's great.
We want to rectify that this week by just sort of going over a little bit about what Smite is, and who better to sort of give the overlay than yourselves. So do you want to just jump right in and give maybe new viewers who haven't given Smite a shot yet, and sort of tell them what they can expect and why Smite might be different from the scary word MOBA that gets tossed around a lot?
Don't be scared.
Yeah.
No,
Be afraid.
be happy to. So Smite is a mythology-themed action MOBA. So mythology because the characters you play are all gods and goddesses from mythology, not only just Greek mythology, but Norse and Roman and Mayan and Chinese and Hindu. So pretty cool, battleground of the gods, and that you're playing a god or goddess. And then action MOBA because it has aspects similar to other MOBAs. There's
Right.
a mode that has towers and lanes and minions and last hitting and itemizing. But action because, as you guys know, you're playing from a third-person perspective. So rather than clicking on the map to see your guy move there, you directly control your character, and that makes all the difference. So the combat feels more like combat from a shooter, or maybe like WoW PvP, WoW
Yeah.
Arena.
Yep.
Sort of action RPG kind of feel
That's what
to
got
it.
me.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right in there, right? You're right in there with your guy. It feels really real when you're aiming your range shots, when you're hitting your melee. So yeah, so that's the action part, and that's also what makes it such a nice fit for a controller. So Smite was launched for the PC last March, and we're excited that we've been working on the version for the Xbox One. So yeah, that's what Smite is.
Excellent.
Yep.
Yeah, well, we're definitely going to jump into the Xbox a little
Sure.
bit later. I know some people are curious. So can you speak a little bit to Kyle and Alfredo and I were discussing last week about how that feeling of just being in a god and coming out of the jungle and really just taking control of the character rather than this sort of top-down approach. Can you explain a little bit why you wanted to go how that came about?
I mean, it's really just our history as a developer, honestly. So this is a third game that we've made from Hi-Rez Studios. They've all been action multiplayer games, and they've all had that perspective. So we don't come from doing real-time strategy games where you're above the map. We come from combat where the camera's right behind your character. So our first game, Global Agenda, was a third-person shooter. Our next game, Tribes, was a super fast first-person shooter. And so as a developer, that's kind of combat that we enjoyed. And so Smite kind of came from that DNA. Like, honestly, it started out as a potential game mode for Global Agenda. So we had this third-person class-based combat, and we were like, what if we had towers? What if we had minions? And so that was really the super early days of Smite, was science fiction theme.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, just like a third-person shooter that happened to have minions. And then later, over time, it was like, wow, this is a really fun game mode. Like, this should be its own game. And then Eres, our CEO, one day came in when we were still just prototyping it, and he was like, what if we just switched it all to gods and goddesses? And everyone was just totally psyched. Yeah. I mean, the character designers
Best
were like...
decision ever.
Yeah, it really was. And
Seriously.
it was...
I think it worked out.
Yeah, well, it was a tough decision because we were coming from like where we had all these assets from this other game, and we could potentially have a game out really quickly to this other path where we were going to have to redo every piece of art in the game, and we
Right.
knew it would take about 2 years. But everyone was like, I get to make Zeus, I get to make Ra, I get to make Athena. Like, there was just so much excitement about it, and we thought it would work a lot better, and yeah, that birthed Smite. So
I feel like the excitement shows in all the art style, because that's like one of my favorite things of the game. Like, all the gods look amazing. So it feels like that passion actually came through when it came to the designs of the gods.
I think it does. Yeah, I mean, it's a talented art team, and they do a lot of research with every god or goddess, and definitely pour love into each one of them. So
I love it.
Roughly how long does it take from conceptualizing a god into full delivery?
Wow. So it's about 15 different people, each with a different specialization, that are working for about 2 months. I mean, we have multiple teams working in parallel, so we can release a god about every month, but from beginning to end, again, about 2 months across 15 different kind of specializations, from concept art to 3D model to animation, visual effects, the voiceover people, right?
Sure.
I mean,
Which are
across
great,
that
by the
whole
way.
spectrum. So, yeah, labor of love.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Wow. Well, I mean, I have a ton of questions I could ask about like, the creation of the gods, but in order to keep things moving, so I guess the next question I sort of had would really be about the transition from, Hi-Rez's history with tribes, right, into Smite. And like, there was a large part of the community that really played tribes was wondering sort of, what happened with that game? Is it still supported? How support moved from tribes into Smite, and sort of what Hi-Rez's role is with that, the future, where they can see it. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so I mean, the Tribes has always had an awesome, passionate community. You know,
Right.
we picked up the franchise really because there were 3 people within the studio that just loved Tribes, and when we were looking at what we would do next, they said, if the studio can get Tribes and we can bring back Tribes, like, we'll work night and day. We'll do anything. We'll do whatever it takes. And so that's actually why we picked it up originally. When we released it as free to play, as Tribes Ascend.
Yeah.
And was fortunate to get great reviews, and there's still, I can say, tremendous passion for the franchise at the studio. Not only among those people that started it, but the whole team that built it. Unfortunately, though, there's the passion side of the business, but it's still business, right? I mean, it still takes money to pay the developer's salary, and Tribes was break even for us.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really bringing in enough for us to kind of continue to add new content to it as much as we loved it. So, the situation with it now is we maintain active servers for it that we pay for and host in North America and Europe and even Australia, which has very few local servers there, but we have them for Tribes. And but as far as new content, we basically told the community, hey, for now, we're not doing new content. We need to focus on Smite. And even though it was a really hard decision, honestly, for us as a studio, it was a good one, because we saw that Smite just had this mojo to it that would let it grow. And if and when we're able to go back to Tribes as a franchise, which as a studio we want to do when the world is ready and when we're ready, then we'll hopefully have the resources to do it because of the success of Smite. So that's the deal.
Excellent. So I mean, let's transition that back to Smite then. Can you talk about where you're at now as far as user base? And it feels like in the last year, I know you actually released in March, so it's almost a year. By the way, are you going to be doing anything special for the 1-year anniversary?
We'll definitely pull out something. Nothing too huge, but we'll celebrate some way.
Awesome. So a year out, I feel like I know I play it a lot, but I feel like just in the last year, it's sort of exploded in popularity. People who I would not expect to know what Smite is, know what Smite is, and I can have a conversation with them,
like me.
like Alfredo Diaz here,
who I'm primarily on a console, but yeah, it just totally hooked me because of 2 things. One is that the gods. I was like, wow, these are characters I can relate to, and
you can relate to a god.
I kind of feel like Zeus when I wake up in
The
the
show
morning.
is called Godlike.
Come on.
And just the camera angle.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
It was the gods and stuff for me. Actually, it was the god design and then each god's kit. The kit for the gods each felt like they played so well into the theme around the god himself. Like Hercules' kit is just amazing. I really like Odin's, as we've spoken. Like that's really what's drawn me in, was how well the kit synergized within itself and then within the team.
I mean, I'm the same way, being a huge mythology nerd, as a kid, I actually found a book report where I compared 3 different culture's religion, which I think you might have stolen as the basis for Smite. But it's everything. It's the kits, it's the mythology, it's the personalities. You know, you'd be surprised how much personality actually comes out of these gods. I was just telling you earlier that I bought the Lucky Baby Fuwa skin, and it's quickly that and the voice pack has quickly become my favorite thing. My favorite thing to play with. People I'm in the game with, like, please don't VEG anymore, because I'm just sitting there going, I'm so cute.
We put in voice flood protection just because of people like that.
Because of me. I'm curious though. Last episode we touched a little bit. We want to talk about our favorite skins. We got a little bit of time, so you want to go around? Just what's your favorite skin and voice pack?
Wow. You want to start over?
I'll start with mine. My favorite skin, I don't have a favorite voice pack yet, but my favorite skin so far is definitely the Geb 1.0.
That's got a good voice pack, too.
Oh, my God. That rollout where he just turns into the giant jet with all the little jets on top. Oh, it's just so cool.
The Transformer.
Yeah, it's just the greatest thing ever.
The Thanatos Archon skin.
Oh, my God.
It's just so cool.
Okay.
It's just so cool.
So I have a specific question. We're going to come back to this, but yeah, that's a good one.
About the Archon skin.
Yeah.
That skin is so good.
So,
yeah, Archon skin is probably my favorite in any game, honestly. So,
Yeah,
the team just did an awesome job.
Fantastic.
Really, above and beyond even what we were envisioning with, like, the idea of a skin that would evolve during the match. I mean, they just took that and knocked it out of the park. So, also another Thanatos skin. This is kind of an older one, but the Halloween skin for Thanatos is gotta be probably at the top of my list.
That's a great one too.
I like Scylla, Little Red Riding Hood. I think it's a lot of fun to play. She's a really cool character. I like her a lot.
Yeah, that voice pack is great. Her new skin is really good too.
Her new skin's awesome.
A lot of, speaking of, this is, we try to loop in the community as much as possible, so we really want to get their questions out. A lot of the comments and questions we got were, how come Scylla's dance on the home screen isn't her dance in game? And I have a feeling it's a licensing thing, but
probably not, but I don't have a crisp answer for that. The animation team, Dan specifically, you can answer in the comments, Dan. So he's the one who gives his whole team very broad creative license. So they are inspired by many popular dances.
Sure.
I think we started that with Tyr was the first time that we took a kind of a meme and put in a dance.
the Viking.
Yeah, from the Viking.
Techno Viking.
So but I don't know the answer on
Cool. That's all right. So I know we just jumped all over tangents,
You
but
didn't say your skin.
I did.
What was your
Lucky
favorite
Baby.
skin?
I don't know if that's my favorite skin. That's the one I'm hooked on right now. I don't know, man. I'm liking.
He's all over the place.
I love all of them. I play so
skin,
they're like my children. I play so many different gods that I
do.
can't. Right now, I'm really into Sobek's High Seas skin. 'Cause his VEG is my booty is the best booty, and how do you just compare to that? Yeah. Cupid is amazing. Despair Daisy is really good, but Herc's new skin, La Roca, I think it is.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
The pinata that he throws is amazing.
Yeah. Pinata on the broken chair. Yeah. That's beautiful.
So we want to get into the Xbox One version. So do you want to talk a little bit about that now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure. Go for it, Andy.
Would love to. We've been working on the Xbox One version, and as we've already talked about a little bit, it's a natural transition. We want to take this great game that people are finding and discovering on the PC and having so much fun with, and bring that to a new audience. We do feel it will be a successful MOBA on Xbox, which is going to be kind of a glass ceiling, kind of break through that. So we're real excited about that, and it plays really well. It plays fun. I think you guys all got to play a little bit before we came in here.
We did.
I can speak
and
to that.
It was amazing.
Some of the first hands-on.
Some of the first hands-on, and the feedback we've gotten from people that have gotten their hands on it has all been pretty universal. That it's a lot of fun. It's still early, still in alpha, still evolving, so we're working through things. But we're just really excited about it. I think it's going to be really big.
Yeah, I think. It's this MOBA thing, right? I mean, it's just so big. When you look at the numbers that of the MOBA genre, it's just clearly the most popular genre on the planet. But it's always been a PC thing, right? And there have been a couple attempts on console, and some more successful than others. Definitely others that were helping to kind of pioneering, but nothing's really broken through, right? Nothing's really stuck.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's opportunity. It's a challenge, right? We'll see, but I would say we're pretty optimistic as a studio, and mainly it comes down to the camera angle that you mentioned and the controls, right? The fact that you directly control your character on a PC with WASD movement and your mouse, that just maps really nicely to the dual stick controls and the buttons for your abilities. So it plays naturally, and so yeah, we're pretty excited that generations of kids that grew up with a Call of Duty or a Halo, and maybe MOBA was just something that their PC game friends played and they really had no interest in it. They'll be able to try it and for free. That's also pretty new on console, is the whole idea of free to play. So it's pretty cool to be working with Microsoft to champion free to play on Xbox and try MOBA on Xbox, and hopefully move the industry forward and give people a new type of game to try.
What I love about Smite specifically, and what I hate about the word free to play, is that most people assume free to play equals pay to win, and that's totally not even true on Smite at all. Like, there's no advantage.
Nothing to make you better.
Yeah, everything you pay for is cosmetic.
That's right. Yeah, that was important to us. And the other thing that people should know, because some people don't like free to play, and one of the things that we've always offered is this Ultimate God Pack.
It's a great idea.
So you pay one time, and it's a single price game, actually less than most single price games. And you get all 62 gods and anyone we ever release in the future. So you don't have to worry that it's going to cost you hundreds of dollars to stay up with Hi-Rez's latest God release cycle, or to keep up with your friends, to be able to play that latest God that's just about to drop.
That's what's so insane to me, is that the fact that it's not just 60 gods for $30, right? That's, a steal as it is. Yeah. But just the value increases every time you release a new god, and for however long you're going to be around, it's really kind of, I'm not trying to shill this. It's really kind of one of the best deals in gaming that you could kind of find, right? Like it's so much content for.
I completely agree. I have a crew of people that I usually run with, and there's like 7 of us, and we instantly bought the god pack because we were just like, wait, all future gods? Like, that's sure, 100%. I'm in this.
Like, my wallet was already out of my pocket as I was like finishing the sentence. It's like you said, it's hard not to sound like you're shilling it when you really think it's like a great package. Like, you pay this one-time fee and you get all the gods that. It doesn't make sense to me.
It's that fine line between enthusiasm and advertising. We're definitely on this side of this.
But going back to the Xbox One version, we just got hands-on with it, so, and it literally took me a minute or two just to get back into the rhythm.
Yeah, can we talk about the controller layouts and stuff like that?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah, so I really think the claw that we switched to
100%
is
the
control method.
Control scheme to go with.
Do you want to explain the claw? Or?
Yeah, sure. We've got, right now we have 5 controller options in the game. You have to pick, they're pre-configured, and you pick one of the ones you want. The default right now, it defaults to one that uses what I call the face buttons.
Sure.
And you use your different abilities are keyed off those face buttons. Then we have options that use what you're calling the claw, which is using the bumpers and the triggers.
Is there an official name for that?
The claw.
The claw.
The claw.
It's the official name.
Do I get to?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna go with it.
Some royalties for this guy over here.
We'll give you credit for that.
That's awesome.
No, but yeah, so that's using the claw, and we have a couple that actually have a little bit of combination where the Y is actually your ultimate, and so that way instead of having a combination, it's such an important thing, and the Y is just the single for the ult.
Which we saw me mess up as Odin.
That's really
so
interesting.
So it's we've got some semi-pro players or former pro players in the office, and we've had those guys doing play testing and going through it. You bring someone in who's not played Smite before at all, and you watch them and see how they do with that. They tend to start with the face buttons because it's a more natural feel. It feels like the claw is as you get a little bit better at the game, a little nice transition to go into. So, we've got those options available, and we're still, like I said, it's living, so we're still working through that.
Still preliminary.
Yeah,
I just think it works so well with the whole the idea of movement while aiming your abilities.
Yeah.
It's just because you lose a little bit of your fine tuning of your aiming when you're having to.
Same concept as bumper jumper on an FPS.
Sure. Yeah. Well, last week when I said I tried controller on my PC, that was my main thing. As Thor, I had to take my thumb off the thumbstick to hit A to drop the wall, and then I lose a fraction of a second of aiming,
which is huge.
It's huge in Smite, and this, LB is 1, RB is 2, or what have you, left trigger, right trigger, and then together is the alt, or what have you.
It kind of gives you the ability to do. It kind of opens up all 3 cast modes as well. You could do quick, normal, or instant cast.
Using
the bumpers.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the cast modes. Those are super important.
They're not in the current build that we checked
well, so
out.
in the current build that's out now in the alpha is that's going to be, you can set it for all of your abilities, just across all your abilities. The next release will have the give you the ability to set your cast mode by ability. Too many abilities in there.
So like maybe your ultimate will be instant cast. That's
Sure.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's going to be really good.
And the other point that I was really concerned about that I think is actually handled really well is the store, right? How do you manage?
I was really
menus?
impressed by that.
So you wanna go and touch on that?
Well,
you too?
that actually came up in our last podcast because it was something of a concern for us. It's the store. Like
I was watching you sit and I'm like, oh, I wish they could play it.
Yeah,
It's great.
So it's
Thank
more
you for
of
watching.
Yeah, I appreciate you watching. Thank you.
I don't know why I watched. It was
why you don't know why you
It
watched.
was
We're
great.
awesome. That's why. No, I'm joking. We're not that awesome.
I thought it was awesome.
The store system, I was concerned was how it's going to be like, but I was watching Alfredo play it since it's just your basic menu system.
Yeah.
Like it's as soon as you see it, you'll be like, oh, this is something I can understand immediately. And I watched. You had been playing for like 2 or 3 minutes. You went back to the store, purchased an item, 4 seconds, and you're out.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
I knew exactly what I wanted and
Yeah.
just purchased it and I
Yeah.
got out of there.
Yeah.
The other key point, and so the store was important for us. People hear MOBA, they worry. It might be tiny text on a lot of menus, hard to navigate. So the team worked on 5 iterations of that
At
current
least.
design to get to where it is. And also very important to us is this idea of auto item purchasing. So players of Smite already know, but just like in the PC version, when you start as a new player, you have this option on by default where the system will buy items for you.
Sure.
So you don't even need to worry about it. And that's kind of part of just making the game accessible for people to jump in and try it without having to worry about buying items, and then they can turn that off later when they feel like jumping into that level.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest hurdles in MOBAs, aside from learning the gods, and half a fight is knowing your god and knowing what god you're fighting. The other obstacle, the real big one to get over in MOBAs, is learning what all the different items do.
itemization.
Learning to buy into what you need.
Still on that.
Yeah,
Still learning that.
Do I want
it's-
power boots? Do I want attack speed boots? Do I need a beat stick this round? Stuff, all important things to know. And so like the first 20 games I played were all with auto buy on, and it really does help. It really does help.
I'm a fan of auto buy still, but I'm still a noob. So
Sure.
it's like I don't. While I'm trying to mechanically learn the gods and the maps and everything, I don't want to be thinking about items. I just want to go back to the store, get my health, get my items purchased, and then just move on with my life and just learn the mechanics of the god and the map.
Moving on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of really experienced players out there that they keep that on for that reason. They don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to trust the system to point me in the right direction. I'm
And
gonna
it's
buy
pretty
this,
good.
and it works pretty well.
It's pretty good,
It's pretty
yeah.
consistent, right?
I mean,
Absolutely.
it never buys something that I think is just
Right.
like I've never gone. Oh, come on, really? Like,
You,
it's useless in this situation.
It was funny this weekend we were playing, and he's like, oh yeah, I like your build, and I was like, yeah, thanks, man.
It's true. I did. Yeah.
Those
The
Hi-Rez
community
is
right
also-
now is like full of they're like auto buy messes up this one and messes up this one. So
no,
we know
I
it's
know.
not perfect, guys.
You're right,
But it does its job, which is make you not have to worry about items when you're trying to learn how to operationally control your god and learn 60 different gods, which longtime players sometimes don't appreciate. That can be intimidating for new folks, and we try to make it easy, so you don't have to worry about that.
I remember I started playing when Poseidon came out, and even then I was like, oh god, I don't know how I'm gonna master everyone. And even now, like looking at 60 gods, that's a lot of time to put in.
Yeah, no, I primarily play on a console, and this is my first MOBA, and I came in, I was like, oh, there's an auto buy, cool, because then I have no idea what any of these things do, and there's a lot of them. But yeah, so it's a great option.
Yeah. So, do you guys want to get into the details about the Xbox One version? So,
Sure.
you can announce that the alpha is going to be starting
March 11th.
March 11th.
Big
11th.
day,
Yeah, it's a
March
big day.
11th.
There you go.
We'll be sending out some keys from the people who've already signed up. We'll be handing out keys to all the people that come and see us at PAX.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
Play there. We'll be giving out keys at that.
That's awesome.
I think we might give you guys a key or two to give away here.
During the stream,
Um,
that'd be
we
fantastic.
can do that. I have a couple in my coat over there.
Yeah.
Upstairs in my
Kyle
coat.
blocked the door. Alfredo, get the coat.
Had a couple.
Oh yeah, exactly. I had.
exactly.
But yeah, so those are some of the upcoming milestones we've got. So obviously, really excited about that. I mean, obviously there's a lot of excitement building as we're getting closer here. Like I said, the game is still evolving. I did want to take a step back. You were talking about the item store and the time spent designing that, and that really goes into every aspect of the game on the Xbox. And we've kind of taken that time across the board. And I mean, the HUD you're playing on is entirely different from what you'll see on the PC, and I think it. I mean, obviously I'm biased, but I really like it a lot. And we're actually iterating that still. I mean, we're still going to move it. The next release will have a slightly modified version of what you guys are playing on. We're going to move the gold from the top left down to the bottom to make the gold a little more easy for people to see. So I mean, we're doing that throughout the game. You saw the new God page. It's a nice aesthetics to that. A lot easier, I think, to navigate and find out about the gods and see the gods in really big images of the gods and different skins and things like that.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that. And then, talking about the accessibility and it's a MOBA. No, I don't want to play a MOBA. The great thing about our game is we have multiple versions or modes of the game. So you can play. We have that pure MOBA conquest map that is just your traditional MOBA with the 3 lanes and the jungling and things like that. But then we also have things like Arena, which allow you to go in and you don't have to worry about towers and phoenixes and jungling as much. It's just kind of it's a battle royale, right?
This is just one big team fight.
Just go out there and team fight, right?
Team
go out
fight
there
practice.
and items are important in that, but they're not as important. An item build over that's not as important. So you can go in and play the game and have a lot of fun. And then once you're more comfortable, you can go and build into, hey, I do want to get more into this MOBA thing and jump in a conquest match and start doing this kind of thing.
Yeah, just describing me to a T right now.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the natural flow I think we expect people to take, because that's kind of what, I can go play Arena and have a lot of fun and it's a blast, and then wait a minute, I want to delve a little deeper into this MOBA thing and see what it's like and do that. And so it works out well.
And it's not like Arena is just a console thing. I mean, Arena is actually the most popular game mode by players of the PC as well. I mean, it's just a very fun mode. It is 15 or 20 minutes reliably. So if you're short on time and you don't want to risk kind of 45 minutes or an hour, you can jump in. And so it's a good entry-level mode that a lot of people keep playing. They just add other modes over time to it. They start playing 3v3 and Joust and Conquest. And a lot of them tend to keep Arena still in their rotation of what they play, which is why we see it being super popular. So,
it's great.
But as far as console, like Andy said, I mean, the key point for us was we didn't want it to be just a port, right? We wanted to have all the features, all the depth of the PC, but the team has spent a lot of time just redesigning it around the strengths of the Xbox and around that living room experience for the UI. So they've done a great job. And March 11th is alpha. We'll start beta in April, date TBD, but April. So everyone that's
closed
been
beta
asking,
sometime in April.
That's right.
Right, and we'll reiterate this on the podcast, or on the live stream this Friday. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of questions. But if you see anyone in the comments, closed beta begins in April, right?
That's right.
And I think that...
Can we just get a big screen text? It's like closed beta, April.
I know.
Just on
if the video guys could just do like a little thing right here. And then you glossed over it a little bit, but anybody that's going to PAX East next week gets a free alpha code courtesy of Hi-Rez.
That's correct.
Studios.
Find a Hi-Rez person. So we're going to have a booth there. We'll have the Xbox One playable there in the booth at PAX. We'll have the PC version playable at PAX with this new Season 2 content. And we're doing a panel as well on Saturday. So come and see us, and we'll hook people up with an alpha code.
Very cool. Awesome. Yeah, and we'll be showing it off this Friday, March 6th, I think it is. From 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and probably giving away some codes, showing off the Xbox One version that's still in a preliminary state. Things are subject to change, but it'll be a lot of fun, so stop by that. So let's change gears. As we had said earlier, Godlike's a very community... That's not my paper either. There we go. Godlike's a very community-oriented podcast. I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who wrote in, stopped by the Reddit, sent us an email, hit me up on Twitter, hit all of us up on Twitter, followed IGN Arena.
I want to say a big shout out to r/Smite, because they were just all about supporting us, and it was awesome. I even did the thread on there, and everyone was just amazingly supportive. I honestly went in there expecting just to get destroyed. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to be depressed all weekend. I'm not going to hate my life. But everyone was just super, super helpful, super supportive, had really good input, really good questions. It was just a great time.
So keep it coming. I mean, we've been handing out codes as really great tips and strategies, and we're not going to have time to do it this week, but maybe next week or soon we'll be able to share maybe some tips and strategies for new players. I know we have a lot of good stuff coming from vets who have been writing in. But we really wanted to take the time to sort of lob some questions your guys' way.
From the community.
The community was really vocal about a few key subjects, and then, there's some outlying questions. So we want to take this time. But first, last week we asked you, the community, to write in and let us know what you thought about the Xbox One version. And we went through and found... you want to read that, Kyle?
You want me to read it?
Yeah.
So we had a winning question. It was from Greg Sedlak. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name wrong. I'm sorry if I'm not. And this was my favorite because it's something I really think happens a lot when games go from PC to console. And he basically, to summarize his question was, how will Microsoft handle the patches in Smite? So, like, how are patching Smite on the Xbox One going to coincide with patching Smite on the PC?
For people who aren't familiar, generally when it comes to updating games on consoles, you have to go through a certification process. You make your changes and you submit it to the manufacturer, Microsoft in this case, and then they certify it and then it goes live. So generally there's a real noticeable delay between when like a PC port would be updated and then a console version would be updated. So how are you handling that on the console?
So, well, first of all, I'll just say, Microsoft's been really supportive of the title in general. I mean, part of the thought process around bringing it to Xbox One was just their interest in the title, actually. I think they have obviously seen the growth of MOBA games, and they've seen also free-to-play, and the fact that they're working with us to do both of these fairly new things on Xbox One has been encouraging since the beginning of the project and throughout development. So Andy can speak in a little more detail, but I'll say philosophically they've really certainly said all the right things around supporting us through the certification process. Our goal as a developer would be to stay about a month behind the PC, which if we can do that, I think is actually the best outcome, because it makes sure that we have something that has gone through, because every new patch for MOBA is a little bit like a beta in itself, right? You have a new god or goddess that gets tweaked a little bit no matter how much you try to test, and we'll likely use the PC community for that and then deliver something that's really good about a month behind, but overall keeping feature function parity. So.
Right, and we're still working through the details of how to get it as close together as we can. As Todd mentioned, Microsoft's been great so far when we have to do certifications for each release, even the early alpha and phases. You still have to go through certification to put it out to be downloaded. So we're getting our exercises through that process now, and they've been great, and they've been getting things turned around very quickly. We're actually working with the PC team to try and come up with ways and find that sweet spot. We can be as close as we can without introducing too much risk, because obviously it's much more difficult to patch a problem in a Microsoft game that's downloadable, because you have to go through the certification process again, and then people have to re-download it versus on the PC, or a little more flexible on that. So we're still finalizing that, but the goal would be, I'd say, a month.
How fast do you think that'll turn around? Let's say you run into a Hui situation or something on the console. How fast?
It honestly depends on where the problem is and where we have to fix it.
Okay,
if it's something, so it's going to vary a lot. If it requires a download to the console, until we go through it, I won't know for sure. But Microsoft has said, less than a week. Hopefully less than that, but I think hopefully we won't find out, but I'm sure we will at some point.
There's a set of changes that can be changed with data, like if we just screw up from a balance standpoint, have to tweak some numbers, that's the sort of thing that we can do much more quickly, without certification.
Right.
But if there's content that's involved, that does involve it. But there's no disincentive for updating the game, I think is an important thing for people to realize, which maybe wasn't always the case. Maybe there were charges involved with each certification or that sort of thing, but I can say that in this case, there's really it's just the time to make the change, the time to test the change, to make sure gamers get something that's high quality if they go through the actual task of downloading, and really that's just the time that's required. There's no extra time added or extra money that's involved in that. So
we'll be doing regularly scheduled updates, just like we do on the PC. They'll just be delayed from what you get on the PC, but they'll be on the same schedule, effectively.
Excellent.
So it's safe to say the Xbox One version is not going to be Diet Smite. It's not going to just be like a less functional version of the one on the PC.
That's right. Keep coming back to that one.
That's my favorite saying.
But no, absolutely.
Thanks for calling me out on that.
It's the same game experience.
Hey, so speaking of Xbox One version, Reddit user Ogva _OGVA_ asks, he literally says, ask the guy, being so the guy, ask the guy about the possibility of a competitive scene for arena players on Xbox One. So basically, are we going to see the same sort of competitive scene on the Xbox version that we do on the PC?
Well, I mean, we might. I think we will. I mean, I think it's dangerous for a developer to kind of push an esports scene kind of ahead of when the community is ready for it, because honestly, it's up to the developer to support the scene when they see there's an appetite from the community. Absolutely. That was the basically our philosophy for the PC, and that's our philosophy for the Xbox. That said, I'm optimistic that players of Call of Duty and Halo that like to play multiplayer games competitively are really going to dig this game. If they do, then we'll support them with tournaments. And it may turn out that a different game mode becomes more popular for that than on the PC, which would be interesting. So we'll see. Again, just like with PC, we'll support some tournaments online, maybe a few local ones, and see how the scene develops.
All right, boys, time to start practicing now.
Yeah, exactly.
Get together.
We mentioned before, we're already seeing an IGN team. And I would say we've already had some pretty. Go ahead. We've already had some positive. We've already had some subtle interest out there. There seems to be excitement. Everyone seems to be talking about it, and I think there's a certain amount of expectation that it will evolve, and we certainly hope it does. And we've taken that into account in the design of the game, and even everything we do. It's just, okay, this has got to be support a competitive scene, even if it never materializes. We want to have the ability to do that and support that.
The tools to be there.
The tools are there to do that, and we think they will be.
Excellent. So. Well, let's turn over to the community. Kyle, Alfredo, you guys want to take it away?
You want to talk about some of these community questions?
Yeah, I'm going to read this one from Reddit user Neon Flux, because
you stole mine.
This is the same question I was going to ask earlier, but I held off on it. He asked, will there be more evolving skins, or if it was just a one-time deal, because it's awesome.
And let's add to that, will we ever be able to get the Archon skin if we were dumb and didn't buy it?
Wow, you'd have to know someone at Hi-Rez.
Really?
Oh, hey, I just met a couple today. Whoa!
Funny you mention that. I know this guy named Todd. He's kind of a big deal over there.
Evolving skins are a lot of work, but the community did come out hard for the support of Archon and the Odyssey in general. So, my thought is that at least once a year, we've got another World Championship coming up, and I would expect that we would see some sort of evolving skin at that timeline. And that's probably about as much as we'd want to commit to at this point.
Okay.
So, but Archon was awesome.
Okay, so you stole my question, and this other one doesn't have a user to attribute it to. So.
It's the same user.
Oh, it's the same user? Mm-hmm. Neon Flux? Okay, so he asked, can you ask about chests, if Hi-Rez think they're vital for Smite in the future, and any plans they have for the future going forward?
Chests. Subreddit talks a lot about chests.
Yeah. There's sort of a divisive topic. Really.
Yeah. So, Smite's free to play, right? So it's all about how you monetize the users so we can pay salaries of people to make awesome, more content, and maps for people. And we definitely take the no pay to win mode, so that eliminates one type of monetization. We've got the God Pack in the game. Best deal in gaming, according to IGN.
Yeah.
One guy hit according to Brandon. Let's not attribute.
So
Dan Stapleton's ears just started heating up.
I know, exactly.
It works. It works really well. But again, it's 60 plus Infinity Gods, for free. So skins work really well. Voice packs work really well. And honestly, we found that the chests are working well. So it is kind of divisive. There's a camp of players that would like to buy their premium skin outright and make the case that even if it costed more, they would pay that versus the chest. But I could say in general, people's actions are speaking that they kind of dig the chests.
They're still using it.
Yeah, they do pretty well. The chests also work really well when we want to partner with other organizations. We did one over Christmas, which was the holiday-themed chest for the Red Cross. It was only a few items, but we said we were going to take half of all the chest purchases and give it to the Red Cross, which was the second time we did that. We did that over July 4th. Raw America, exactly. And that was, it was over $100,000 that we wrote a check to just from that one chest. So things like that also, they just allow us to theme the content a little bit. So it'll probably continue to be maybe a little divisive. We'll continue to listen to the community, but right now we're seeing the community choose to buy chests. So,
yeah, it's hard. It's hard to want to stop because the vocal minority doesn't like it, but then there's a bunch of people still buying it.
Yeah. That's right. And I think it'll be a balance for us. I think there'll be some items that are chests and some items that we try to sell directly to make sure that, there's options for players that have different preferences.
Okay, so we got a lot of questions to get through. We might have to go into more of a yes/no format. Joust map going to be updated. Sometime
Eventually.
Eventually.
Yes.
soon. When?
Eventually.
Okay. This is Reddit user Gray Aethelwolf. Previous
Go
question.
back to Wessex. Sorry.
Nice. I had no idea what that reference was from. Previous question and this one. Is domination or something similar ever going to be reintroduced? Gray Aethelwolf really loved that mode because it was so broken.
It was broken a little, and no. I would say it's very unlikely we're going to see domination. We do experiment with game modes from time to time, but...
Are you close to any?
No, nothing right away. You know, we just redid the Conquest map, which was a huge effort, the biggest art effort our team has ever undertaken.
It looks amazing.
Thanks. And then really domination was about objective control, and we introduced Siege as a type that has a lot of those objective control elements, plus the additional interesting one of the Siege monster, so and a different player count of 4v4. So unlikely that we would see domination or something like it in the short term.
I asked earlier about a capture the flag mode, and you said that's been tossed around, but that's...
It has been tossed around. No active development around it, but
That'd be so amazing.
I'd be really
it's
into
been
that.
discussed.
But you would have to turn off any of the gods' abilities. That
You
took
go
them off the ground and
go
fly.
in and grab the flag as Apollo and then just
fly away.
later.
Yeah, movement speed, in general with Capture the Flag, you've got to kind of disable that, which makes you feel a little less like your character from time to time, so that's a big consideration in a CTF mode.
Sure, Mercury's ult and Thor.
Yep.
All right, let's tear through these god questions.
Okay.
A lot of people wrote in because they have specific gods they love, so they want to know sort of what the status of. Take it away, Kyle.
I'm going to start with the one that I'm really, my flavor of the month, the one I really like. Are you guys happy with Odin's current state?
Wow. So these God questions, the real guy is Scott Zier, who's not here with us. So we may have to bring him back to chat with you to get some of the God-specific ones, because he's really the guy on the hook for all those. So you can rifle through them. I guess I'll say in general, though, it's more than yes, no. What Scott does is not only pour over the feedback from our subreddit and from our Facebook and forums and that sort of thing, but he looks at many, many, many slices of data. Because, we record every match that was ever played. He looks and does that analysis to see how a god is performing in every single game mode, in the hands of new players versus experienced players, in the hands of high elo players versus low elo players, in the hands of when people are paired with their teammate versus they're not versus not. So there's a lot of analysis that goes into it, because there's the subjective feedback, which is very important, and there's the objective feedback of how is it actually performing.
Yeah.
Scott can give you most of the details, but people should know there's some
lot that goes
method
into
to the madness. Yeah.
Right. We could quickly tie into, just for what you're talking about, from Reddit user that dude over there. Do you guys ever take tier lists into account when they do that? Do they look at those?
Yeah, we do. I mean, DM Brandon, probably most famously or infamously within the community, publishes a tier list. Yeah, InCon, and all the competitive players do. And we do solicit a lot of feedback from the competitive community, because that's an important component. And at the end of the day, we do balance, I would say, for the high-level competitive play first, and then we see that a lot of those patterns are picked up by the more casual players.
Trickle down. Yeah.
Yep.
So do you have any information? We are running out of time, but do you have any information, or can you let us know when we can expect a new Pantheon? Maybe. Any information?
The team would shoot me.
Scraps. You're not leaving this room until you give me
I really want a new Pantheon. People at the office keep saying they've got more work, they've got things to do, they've got, other people to please. But, we'll see. We'll see if we can. Honestly, I would have liked it if it could happen this calendar year. That's maybe going to be a stretch, honestly. So if we don't do it this year, we're doing it next year for sure.
Maybe season 3.
Yeah.
And
but there's just such a full plate on season 2 that I think it's going to be tough. So keep the ideas coming. Keep soliciting for your favorite Pantheon. More likely a season 3 thing than a season 2 thing.
Gotcha. And that was from Reddit user Kawagaru. Similar question from Bojanks2X.
I love the username.
Bojanks wants to know, when that new Pantheon is revealed, is it going to be 5 playable gods right out of the gate, so it's competitive, or is it going to be? Are we going to see one at a time like we have in the past?
It would almost certainly be one at a time.
Okay.
That would be a lot of time without new content if we worked on 4 or 5.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
God, so many to go through, you guys.
Like I said, they were
all
just
your
all about
questions.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Quick thoughts on where Nox is. Is she going to see anything in the future patch?
Sounds like a
Defer to Scott Zero.
Yep.
Yeah.
Scott. Okay.
Yeah. Just have him go to the comments section.
That's right.
Yeah. We, we'll definitely push as many comments as we can towards, whatever contact we can get. We're going to be doing that stream this Friday, March 6th, from 1 to 3 p.m. We're going to be streaming the Xbox Live version.
Xbox One version.
I'm sorry, the Xbox One version. Yes.
Xbox
messing
One
with you,
Live.
Over Xbox Live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just messing with you guys.
So, touching on server stability real quick, Reddit user Duke Sloth wants to know, are there going to be any changes in server stability, especially in EU and Oceanic, in the near future?
We're always looking at server stability. Server stability and matchmaking are things the community talk a lot about. Is Hi-Rez happy with? We will never be happy with matchmaking because we'll always be looking to improve it. Honestly, it's a hard thing to do. So we have our smartest technical minds working on matchmaking from a dedicated standpoint. So it's not where we want it to be yet. It's a lot better than it has been, but we'll always keep working on that. And server stability is kind of the same thing. It's actually pretty complicated relationship between server vendors that provide the hardware, our own software. Unfortunately, DDoS attacks are a problem in online gaming in general, and sometimes that's a part of it as well. We don't talk about it when it happens because it's
rewarding negative behavior.
It is, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but that is sometimes a part of it, not just with our game, but with other games. So, yes, we'll be continuing to look at improving the servers as well as matchmaking.
Okay, and I think the last one, the big one that we got from a lot of people, there are definitely people who use or want to play Smite on the Xbox ecosystem, but there are, an equal number of people who are interested in Smite that might not have an Xbox. So what, if any, are your future plans to bring it to consoles outside of the Microsoft family?
So for now, we are focused on the PC. We're focused on the Xbox One. That's really where we have limited development capacity, and that's where our development capacity is focused at this point. So our goal is delivering an awesome experience for folks on the Xbox One. That's about what we want to focus on at this time.
Okay. Sure, that's fair.
Absolutely.
That's fair. Well, I think we're about out of time,
Yeah.
which sucks because I could go another 15 minutes.
You guys
Yeah.
got the rest of the night open, or can we keep just asking questions?
Well, seriously, thanks for the interest in the game. I mean, I think for the community, we obviously saw they came out really strong when you guys not only posted the cast, but also on the questions on Reddit, reaching out directly to them. And I know it's not just the developers, the community, the pro players, the streamers, the YouTubers. These guys have been with us the whole way, from when Smite was in alpha over 2 years. And, we're kind of like the indie band that are taking on some of the established players out there. And so I think it's satisfying for everyone when it starts to break through to be a more mainstream phenomenon. And you guys are part of making that happen. So appreciate it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
More than happy to do it.
Yeah.
We should get T-shirts that says "I like Smite" before it was cool.
Yeah.
Smite
go.
boys.
Smite
That's what we're
boys.
called in the
With
office
his-
anyways.
I want
Smite
a
boys.
members only jacket.
Yeah.
You got about 1 month to print those T-shirts
Yeah.
before it gets really, really, really cool.
Before it blows up. So yeah, again, huge thank you to the community for all your support, and keep it coming. We are listening. We're very busy, but
Yes.
if we can reply, we will. And we still got plenty of stuff to give away. I really do want to stress, I know third time now, Friday, March 6th from 1 to 3 p.m. We're Pacific. We're going to be streaming the Xbox One version in-house. A bunch of IGN editors, maybe a couple other people. Giveaways, prizes, should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm going to be manning the giveaways and prizes and
Awesome.
the Twitter and Twitch chats and stuff like that.
And we're going to
Be
have
nice to me.
Yeah. We're gonna have an article up on IGN promoting that, where you can come back and visit the page again in order to see the stream when it goes live on Friday. But Alfredo, where can they find you?
On Twitter at the Alfredo Plays.
And I am on Twitter as well. Brandon Tyrell. Kyle.
Kyle.
Todd. Andy.
I am at Todd Allen Harris.
I'm behind. I don't have a Twitch handle.
We don't
yet.
let it. He's managing the Xbox project. We do not let him
not
tweet
allowed.
anything.
So, well,
Don't tweet anything.
What's
You'll get in
Twitter?
trouble. Stop.
Andy's got this little project called Smite on Xbox One. You guys should check it out.
You can hit him up on
Exactly.
MySpace.
No,
Just joking.
let's see. I've got. I think I have an email address. Maybe. No.
You don't want
Let me get my rotary phone.
Now.
I can give my phone number out for that.
Pull out
No,
the
I'm
Rolodex.
behind on that. Sky Gandhi's on me all the time about that. So
just after Xbox ships.
Yes.
Then you get your Twitter.
Thank you, Todd.
Cool.
That's my reward.
Well, thank you guys again so much for joining us, and
thank you guys for having us. It's been great.
Absolutely, really looking forward to it. And I can't wait to get my hands on it again on Friday.
Yeah,
so.
I'm just gonna go back and play it in the demo room.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us for IGN Godlike. I'm Brandon. This is the rest of the crew, and we will see you next week.